What's up, guys? Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you all for joining me. Today, Friday, April 4th, 2025, got a massive show. Tons of stuff to cover. Haven't streamed in 3 days. I was on a little birthday road trip with some family. Went to a water park. Gonna cover everything that happened in the last couple days. About this dad of the guy that was murdered, his suicidal Christian forgiveness. We've got some clips of Rabbi Shmuley's daughter talking about Christian anti-Semitism. Gonna cover Stu Peters' Fed posting and giving the Jews the exact narrative they want. We've got some rabbi clips, some Christian clips, some Jordan Peterson, tons of stuff. You can see all the tabs. Gonna be a big one. Appreciate you guys for making it possible. Huge shout out already to my Odysee account. Number 1 says, hell yeah, thank you, getting us off started good for 50. Appreciate you, brother. Gonna be a big show. I might be here. I've been missing you guys, missing the stream. I might be here for 3, 4, 5 hours today. I'm not leaving till I get all this covered. If I have to take a break, I'll take a break. But first, let's watch some of these clips. Even the internet Christians see the problem here with this dad that's already, his son's not, the body of his murdered son is not even cold yet, and he's already on the news forgiving the murderer, saying it's okay, God's in control. Despicable. Need More Amalek says, this is why Christianity must be eradicated for our people, for us to survive. Let's watch some of these clips. Oh, hold on. The parents, this is already a meme. The parents go on the news and start forgiving and saying, don't be racist. This isn't about race, stuff like this, making excuses. See, Christians are taught to forgive. You need to be mad and angry and want vengeance and not say, oh, they'll go to hell. God will handle it. They'll get their punishment. Let's see. What am I trying to do here? Okay, we're on.
I want to clarify something right off the start because I've already heard some rumors and some gossip. This was not a race thing, and this is not a political thing. Please do not comment if you do not know what happened.
Is this even real? This is already the meme. Run straight on the news and say, don't make this about race. Has nothing to do with race. Of course, every single time. His son just got murdered by this guy, and he runs on TV on Fox News at that and says, the Christian says, look, it says faith over fear on his shirt. Not about race, not about race.
Do not turn this into a racial thing. It was not. Do not politicize this. It's not. This is a human being thing. This person made a bad choice.
A bad choice. To be a thug, to bring a knife to a track meet, to sit underneath the tent of another track team, and then they ask you to leave, and you say, make me leave. And then when they try to make you leave, you stab them. So cringe.
Affected both his family and my family forever.
Oh, his poor family forever. You mean the family that raised him to be a 17-year-old murderer, to murder somebody for no reason? Like the white guilt. It's suicidal. This type of forgiveness is suicidal. We should want to crush people like this. A lot of sense says all the blacks are on X are saying that the boy deserved it to be murdered and that white people need to know there are consequences to their actions. I know, they're like, they touched his backpack, so he deserved to stab him in the heart. Christianity has created the conditions that make people love their enemy and pray for their persecutor and turn the other cheek, and to have suicidal levels of forgiveness. Christianity is white guilt. Exactly. He says God takes care of everything. Did he take care of your son? This is the Christian mindset creates the conditions for our children to be murdered by thugs. Christian forgiving virtue signaling is absolutely pathetic and disgusting.
High school student athlete, idea how, but Jeff Metcalf somehow found the strength to speak with us late this afternoon about his son, 16-year-old Austin Metcalf, sharing memories of this remarkable young man and a heart-wrenching detail about what happened behind me this morning.
The sad part about it is he died in his brother's arms. They were twins, identical twins. And his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms.
He was like a 4.0 student, MVP, and captain of the football team.
And I rushed up there, and I saw him on the gurney. And I could tell. They said he wasn't breathing. I could see all the blood. I saw where the wound was.
Understandably still in shock, Jeff Metcalf says a precious memory was made just this past weekend when he took his twin boys hunting. That's where Austin got his first hog. Well, this morning at around 10, he rushed here to Kirkendall Stadium, where the Memorial High School student athlete suffered a fatal stab wound during this track and field meet. Frisco police say a fight broke out between two students when one stabbed the other. More than 100 student athletes were participating in this meet. Fortunately, they were safely evacuated. Police arrested the suspect. He is 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony of Frisco. He is now charged with murder.
Like how he gets on there and says, oh, it's not about race. Don't make this racial. Don't point out the fact that, of course, he was a black guy that stabbed him. And it's not like he needs to say, like, all black people are evil or something like that, or all black people are responsible. But to, like, completely ignore, like, the rates and the statistics on this type of thing. And how just, like, everybody knows, like, oh, he got stabbed. And, like, everybody's first thing is, I wonder what the guy's name was. Wonder what he looked like.
Students unfortunately witnessed this deadly encounter and have been interviewed by police. Despite life-saving efforts, the 16-year-old victim died at the hospital. Austin, his father shares, was born 2 minutes before his twin brother Hunter, the two inseparable, as you can imagine. Austin is being remembered as an outstanding student at Memorial High, his football team's MVP, and a young man of faith. His father grappling with loss and forgiveness.
I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet, and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. The guy...
He's like, I'm not trying to judge. Only Jesus can judge. No, we need to be judging. We need to be judging the parents. We need to be judging the culture. We need to be judging, to survive, for our protection. It's like can be life and death.
I was in the wrong place. They asked him to move, and he bowed up. This is murder. I don't know. I know they have someone in custody.
Yeah, we do.
And you know what? I already forgive this person.
Already forgives him. Has the guy even said he's sorry yet? Dude, if I was murdered and my mom got on the news and said, I believe in Jesus and I believe in forgiveness, I would be absolutely furious. We should all be furious about this. You kidding me? He's already forgiven him. This is crazy. This is already the meme too. It's already been a known thing. Christian gets attacked, Christian gets murdered, and then the parents and the family goes on and goes, "Don't be racist. It has nothing to do with race, and we forgive him. We forgive him." Yeah, the mystery of why white people are going extinct has been solved.
Already. God takes care of things.
Oh, don't worry about it. We don't got to be mad. God's going to take care. God takes care of things. His son just got murdered, and he's forgiving the guy and saying God takes care of it. Don't worry. He'll be punished in hell. Don't worry about it.
And he bowed up.
Disgusting.
I don't know. I know they have someone in custody.
Yeah, we do.
And you know what? I already forgive this person. Already. God takes care of things. God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
Did God take care of his son? Do Jews forgive their enemies? No, they want to crush their enemies. This turn the other cheek, forgiveness, love your enemy type of shit. And don't say he's not a real Christian. Christianity and Jesus taught forgiveness.
The victim's father says these two teens did not know each other before today. We do need to stress that police have not said what they believe led up to this deadly encounter. There is a prayer vigil tonight at 7 p.m. at Hope Fellowship Church right here in Frisco. Reporting live in Frisco, Maria Guerrero, NBC5.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. What does that say? Belief in heavenly justice and judgment day definitely stops people seeking justice in this life and basically encourages suffering and putting up with shit.
He died in his brother's arms. They were twins. This is murder.
Okay, we already watched that one. He just made a bad choice. This suicidal empathy and white guilt is a plague, and it's rooted in his Christianity.
Do not politicize this. It's not. This is a human being thing. This person.
This other child decided to make. It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life.
He's worried about this kid. I'd be like, I want him tortured for the rest of his life. And he's sitting here having empathy and sympathy for the guy that just murdered his son. Wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me. Yeah, God will take care of his family. How's that going so far? Right.
I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue.
It's not?
Someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this.
Dude, when are you going to realize that like there's a lot of black people that really hate white people? And they want to get whitey. And they will purposely bring a knife to a track meet and then purposely try to antagonize by sitting under their tent, knowing you're not supposed to be there. Like, think, you show up to a track meet, you hug the big old tent, you bring your coolers, your water stuff, you got your chairs, and then some random black guy comes and sits under your tent. And you say, this is our tent. Could you leave, please? And he goes, make me. Waiting to fight and waiting to stab right away. And he says, I have compassion and I feel bad. And it's just, he just made a bad choice and I feel sympathy and compassion for him. I don't. Yeah.
I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online.
Don't make it about.
There was this fight and they don't know. They weren't there. It's very unfortunate that this other child.
He's sitting here worried about the child. His mother and twin brother do not agree with this approach. Let's see this.
Young man, I heard your husband say within hours of this that he forgave this.
Are they going to redeem him right now?
Other young man, that he forgave this other young man, and he got there so quickly. And I honestly don't know that I could. And I just want to see. And I don't know if there's a right or a wrong place to be, especially.
I would never forgive. If someone killed my daughter, I would never, ever forgive them. And I would do everything in my power to make their life as much suffer and pain and torture as possible.
As quickly as this has happened. Megan, how do you feel on that front today?
I am not like their dad. I am so angry at that boy.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
She's holding back from Fed posting right now. You can tell she's shaking because of it. She's holding it back so much. I know we should want vengeance for our enemies, not turn the other cheek. Guess who tells you to turn your other cheek? Your enemy that wants to castrate you and emasculate you and weaken you and make you meek and mild.
Oh, that's all I have.
I understand.
I'd like to say is it's forgave, not forgotten, but I'm not at that point yet to forgive that kid for what he did to my brother.
The guy hasn't even said sorry yet. He hasn't even had to suffer any consequences yet. In fact, I see that they're trying to raise him money on GoFundMe, which how is this guy allowed to raise money on GoFundMe? They're banning all types of other people, but they're banning him. I'm saying, last I saw, he raised like $40,000. Kidding me? They're all over the internet saying he did nothing wrong. He didn't do nothing. John Garadas says, huge shout out to Primordial for hosting amazing spaces. Also, huge shout out to Anti-Judaic, Need More Amalek, Stonewall Jackson, and Tribal Defender, and See Through It All. And everybody for combating the coping Christians on Twitter. Can't believe their patience dealing with these unbearable morons. Have a great stream, everyone. You know, they're addicts, and addicts cope and are in denial. They're addicted to Jesus. They're Jesus junkies. And that's why we get nothing but cope and denial and gaslighting and lies from these people. Thank you, John. Yeah, I want to do a panel with all you guys, by the way. Stonewall, Tribal, Need More Amalek. Anybody that wants to join on, we want to start doing a regular big panel with all the crew.
17 years, my best friend just there, and didn't blink of an eye, I lost him. So I'm not at that point.
I heard your husband say within hours of this.
Well, at least the brother and the father made up for it.
He needs to move. He's like, make me move. Austin grabbed it. There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, you need to move. He's like, make me move. Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So that's just what I saw. And I tried to help him, but
it was just senseless.
I couldn't imagine.
It was really senseless. Really, I don't know why.
And if this was the other way around, it would be, Burger Kings would be burnt down, and they'd be attacking white neighborhoods, and they'd be rioting all over the place. The politicians would be getting down on their knees.
Person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like, a man has a family, that man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid. There was this kid.
And then and then they call us racist. We're trying to self-preservation. And they say, you can't stereotype. Can't stereotype. Oh, what, you don't want to be the only white kid in a school of all blacks? You're racist. One time my grandma, who was a big time church lady, she was watching me or something. She took me to she lived in Tennessee. She took me to some school that she volunteered at. My old Christian white grandma volunteering at a school, and it was all blacks. And for some stupid reason, she decided to take me there when I was probably first grade. And I still vividly remember this, being in a cafeteria, some random school in a different state, and I'm the only white kid there, pure white hair, and just a huge cafeteria. Every single kid was black. And I felt like I was on a different planet. And I remember them talking trash and trying to start shit and trying to intimidate me. Adam's first experience with blacks, yeah. But no, you're racist if you don't want to be a hated minority. These people have been conditioned to hate you and blame you for everything. It was wild. I learned then. I learned then a good lesson. Yeah, now there's a conspiracy that I'm secretly black online too. That's the real conspiracy. Pure Blood says $5 not a Jew challenge. I'm formerly Christian. I want to be on the panel. You could be there, Pure Blood. You can join a panel. I was talking to a Christian lady today who's left Christianity, and she told me how when she was in high school and in college, she was in youth group and she was a hardcore Christian. And she's not anymore. And I was like, she said she almost was she was a missionary. And I was like, oh, you could have gone to Africa to go to share the good news of Rabbi Jesus. And she said she went to Jamaica. She really did go to Jamaica. Try to spread the gospel of the King of the Jews. And I was at the water park the other day. Somebody shared this meme, complete meme from South Park, nailing it, of what it was like, the diversity. There was like no white people there. No white people at the water park. And what I noticed, tons of blocks, that we're talking Southern California. It's almost, I'd say like all of the Mexicans and blacks that I saw there, like if they had tattoos or even if they didn't, almost all of them, some type of praying hands, or one Mexican dude had a huge Jesus crucifixion on his back and Bible verses. They're all tatted up with Jesus tattoos, crosses, a bunch of them, like almost every Mexican there had a cross necklace, gold crucifix necklace. Tons of them with all the Jesus stuff. And then I go online and I say Jesus is fake and Jewish, which he is, and Christians, white Christians, are telling me it's anti-white. Anti-white. I go out in public, I see nothing but diversity and blacks and Mexicans and Asians, Filipinos with all their Christian stuff. And then I go online and it's a bunch of white Christians saying Jesus was white and you're anti-white if you criticize Christianity and say it's Jewish. You're dividing white people. But then I go out in public and it's white people worldwide are like 25% of all Christians now. The trajectory and the demographics is that it's going to be even more of a minority of white people. It's exploding in non-white countries and collapsing in white countries. And these internet lying LARPers want to cling on to it and stay on the Judeo plantation. And I had my head on a swivel when I was there. And I kept my distance from anything that looked worrisome. And luckily I made it out alive. All right. Where was I? Okay. Now let's talk about Stu. So Stu is helping the Jews again. Stu Peters, who only started talking about Israel and Zionism and Jews like within the last couple years. He spreads constant disinfo. His rhetoric is counterproductive and actually helps Jews. He gives them exactly what they want. He's in a mutually beneficial relationship with Jews where he will say incendiary things that he knows is going to get attention. He knows is going to get headlines. He knows is going to bring him attention. And the Jews only give him the headlines because it helps their narrative. They get to go, look at this. He's their boogeyman. Look at this guy. Yeah, constant disinfo. They're fake Jews. They're Khazarians. They killed Jesus. They worship the devil. The litany of all the, it's funny, years ago when I was online being very conservative and not using slurs and not doing anything Fed posty, there'd still be haters and schizo saying, oh, Adam's he's working for them getting hate speech laws passed. Complete bullshit. In fact, I've always exposed how that actually helps him. But this guy pops up on the scene, absolutely explodes, and now giving them all the headlines they want. You see, Stu did a interview the other day with Matt Baker, by the way, which is fucked up that he says this incendiary thing with Matt Baker on the show. Now he's plastered across all of the media as a far-right podcaster who called for a final solution and calls for expelling Jewish people from the United States. And he's so delusional, he's either the biggest retard living in an alternate reality ever, or he's on the payroll, Gold Cove, Zelenko pills, whatever. Or it's a grift for attention. This is the thing. He benefits from the attention, and the Jews benefit from getting to fearmonger about the next Shoah that's going to happen in America. Okay? All the disinfo saying the outlandish things that get headlines everywhere for the Jews. Stu, they're not giving you headlines everywhere and quoting you because you're a threat to them. They're not scared of you. They're highlighting you and drawing attention to you because your behavior helps them. Do you get that? Podcast host calls for mass deportation of Jews. The Jewish Daily Forward. Quote, need a final solution.
Matter. Well, guess what? It does.
Oh, that's not the right one. Shoot, where is it? Come on, I thought I had it. Where is it? Come on, they're trying to pass this Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, and Stu is online ranting about 110 and a final solution and deporting all the Jews. He says, oh, we got to deport the synagogue, expel the synagogue of Satan because they killed JFK. As if Mossad killed JFK, all Jews today are responsible and are going to be expelled. How delusional can somebody be? Is he really so stupid and delusional that he thinks that like he's going to lead a movement that's going to kick out all the Jews of America? Zionists have like a strong grip in the halls of power in our government. They're about to pass strict hate speech laws and anti-Semitism laws in America. That's what Stu is helping with this stuff. What's more likely, guys? They're going to pass more hate speech laws and the Zionists are going to point to him as the villain and get more power from this behavior, or Stu's going to lead a movement that's going to kick out all the Jews? Is he really that dumb? Is he really that delusional that he thinks that like we're about to take over the government and kick out all the Jews? Do you think he really thinks that? Or is he just a kosher Christian, stereotypical Hollywood Nazi? What's more like, what are we closer to? Does he think we're on the verge of kicking out all the Jews out of the country? No. We're on the verge of them making anti-Semitism illegal is where we're at.
Anti-Semitism is not just an age-old prejudice. It is a contemporary crisis manifesting on campuses across.
Yeah, we got Chabad rabbis in Congress about to pass IHRA definitions and Anti-Semitism Awareness Act and more anti-BDS laws. And Stu's behavior is helping them do that. And these frauds will be like, Adam's saying if you oppose them, they win. No, I'm saying you have to oppose them the right way. Stu is not doing it the right way. And I think it's very likely, given his shilling for Putin and all of the platforming of all the big Russia shills like Dugin, I wouldn't be surprised if this is astroturfed and botted.
The nation. It is not enough for individuals or institutions to merely claim they are not anti-Semitic. As my father once taught me, it is not enough for people, especially public figures, to be neutral or not be anti-Semitic. One must be anti-Semitic. We must demand the same of our universities and government institutions. This hearing...
We're so close for them to passing hate speech laws. They already are. Look at this. What a coincidence. Goldco sponsored Candace Owens and Stu Peters. Jewish-owned Goldco. Where is everybody else to call out this guy? I know a lot of people have called out Stu for his retarded takes, but this is the most glowing, sus, fed ops thing I think I've ever seen this guy.
Hearing, in my opinion, is an attempt to be just that, anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism is not just an age-old prejudice. It is a contemporary crisis manifesting on campuses across the nation. It is not enough for individuals or institutions to merely claim...
Trying to find it, the actual clip. Here's one of the headlines. Matt Baker in the interview. Here, let's just do Stu Peters.
Dirty bombs and weapons. Fox.
Is this it? Oh, he's calling it for it every show now, apparently. Here we go.
This interview, you saying what you're saying, as hard as it, you said it was a hard pill to swallow. As hard as it is to come to that realization, guess what? You did. And that
I still
tells
don't think we
me
should deport all Jewish people.
it's,
But,
it's
you know,
I'm 2 years ahead of you on that. And in 2 years, you'll come back and say, yeah, you.
Stu talking about being ahead of people. 2 years. Oh, you've been on the internet mentioning Jews for 2 years. So you think that makes you the expert? You're the authority? I mean, he's the one that gets invited on all the big podcasts, being astroturfed and propped up by the Kosher Shill Network.
You were right about.
Oh, I'm 2 years ahead. Yeah, I'm 10 years ahead of you, Stu. And you're an idiot. You're either an idiot or you're working for them with this behavior.
Never know. You never know.
Yeah, you'll say. I promise you. Just keep listening. Just stick with me here, okay? I'm a little bit ahead of people, just like I was with COVID and the bioweapon. Okay?
Dude, every conspiracy theorist in the world was skeptical of COVID. Oh, I'm a little bit ahead of you. I've been talking about Jews for 2 years. You got to be kidding me.
I'm a little bit ahead of people here, but yeah, no, we absolutely do need a final solution on that. But it was a litmus test for me because you
using that loaded baggage term, final solution, which is legitimizing Jewish propaganda, by the way. The final solution was a term coined by Jews, and their final solution to the Jewish problem, or the Jewish question, as they said, was Zionism, to get the Jews to move to Israel because of anti-Semitism. Right. Herzl said the anti-Semites will be our best friend. Stu's always lying about Germany being a Christian movement as well, right? Dude, it's every box. Fed posting, giving the Jews what they want, all the kosher disinformation.
Said it. That tells me that millions others are, and I'm watching the rhetoric change. I'm watching the shift. I'm watching the swing of the door open where people are now removing the scales and they're using their own eyes to actually believe what their eyes are telling, and they're saying, okay, yes, no, this is clearly an anti-American agenda. This interview, you saying what you're saying, as hard as
there it is. Shifting the Overton window. Hold on. What does that say about Putin? Yeah, I mean, it's funny how all these guys will be all over saying I'm Jewish when this guy is like God's gift to the Jews, honestly. He thinks, "Oh, I'm the biggest threat. They're attacking me." No, they're making you famous because you help them. You're being propped up because you're such a joke and so easy to discredit. John Garata says, "Nice to see Adam being pissed off at the water park. We all need the aggression to overturn the tables." Well, I wasn't aggression there. I'm just noticing the change and like I said, trying to be safe and keep my head on a swivel. Okay. Stu Peters, who lied about me, by the way, and said I'm Jewish. Okay. Stu's helping Jews again. Let's see now. This is what he's helping doing. They want to have this narrative that the Edom, the white nationalists, white Christian nationalism in Edom, the white supremacy, the evil anti-Semites rising up. The Jews aren't safe. There's going to be another Holocaust. They all have to make aliyah and flee again. Like the rabbi plan, Stu's giving them everything they want on a silver platter.
Now the Jews going to run away from America. Most of them assimilated, so they'll become goyim already, their children, so they have nothing to wear because they're not Jewish. But those who are still religious, they will all get up within a year or 2 or 5. We'll all have to run away from here. Once we will leave this place, Hashem will bury America. That's what's going to happen. Not because I'm some kind of a prophet. I'm not giving you any prophecies here. I'm just describing to you a divine formula. The chosen people, where they're going to live, and you'll be good to them and nice to them, I will bless you from the place. The Torah has a source for it. Now
there you go. That is the plan. The Purim story, the Exodus story, the German story, the Russia story. It's a template. The nation rises up to destroy them, but then and wants to genocide them, and then God triumphs over them. They're doing the same thing, the same script. I've been calling this out for years, and now we're seeing it. Elon buying X, Netanyahu, Trump buddy Elon buying X, and now all of a sudden, all of the kosher Christian anti-Semitism and Russia connected and Russia shilling Christian Muslim alliance is all exploding more than we've ever seen, while at the same time we're being suppressed more than ever. And you're confused about where the psyop is. This is what they're helping. This is the narrative they're trying to fulfill. Look at this narrative now, okay? Like Jonathan Greenblatt's book. You're giving ammunition to Jonathan Greenblatt's book. His book is It Could Happen Here.
A new movie titled
It Could Happen Here. All this talk about Jews, about, oh, they need to get their passports ready. Which one of their Gentile friends are going to hide them under the floorboards? Happen here. Greenblatt. Jonathan, head of the CEO of the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, has a book called It Could Happen Here. We're nowhere near anything like that happening. But thanks to kooks like Stu screaming about final solutions, now Greenblatt gets to write in his book, or Greenblatt gets to go on the news. They get to play the clips of these clowns that act like this and go, look, guys, we're not safe. We need hate speech laws. And then what do the Christians do? The Christian leadership, the Christians in power, they come out and they simp. They have all this sympathy, and they become the shields and the guardian and double down against Christian anti-Semitism.
A new movie titled October 8th is out, which purports to track the rise of anti-Semitism in America, featuring Israeli propagandist Noah Tishby, disgraced professor Shai Davidai, and crazy-eyed former Shin Bet fanatic Mossab Hassan Youssef. It is this clip, though, of Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook and corporate feminism fame that went viral online.
I was on a walk with one of my closest friends who's not...
So this is Sheryl Sandberg. She was like the CEO or head of YouTube, right? Head of Google and YouTube. This is the woman that banned me from YouTube, basically. Or she's Facebook, so she banned me from Facebook. That's right.
Viral online.
I was on a walk with one of my close...
It was the other Jewish woman that banned me from YouTube.
Friends who's not Jewish. And just out of nowhere, not expecting to say this, what came out of my mouth was, will you hide me? Like, if it comes to that, will you hide me and my family? And like, do I really think that's going to happen in the United States? No. And it was interesting because she didn't really know what I was talking about. So what do you mean hide you? And I explained that.
So sad music, another Holocaust, all of the evil, rabid Christians that blaming Jews for killing God.
There are these righteous people that hid Jews. This is the story of Anne Frank. And then, of course, she said, oh, I know what you mean. But any Jew would have known what I meant immediately.
Okay, so the sad music, the sob story, you hide me, and then they cut to clips like Stu saying the type of Fed posting stuff that he says. Okay, that's what Stu is helping. Okay, do you think they're scared of Christian anti-Semitism? Does Shmuley's daughter look like she's scared of Christian anti-Semitism? Or do they love to highlight how absurd and ridiculous the Christian anti-Semitism is? No, they highlight it, they emphasize it, they draw all the attention to it, they scapegoat it, and then they're able to get away with everything they do because of the Christian-controlled opposition. Her book, Christian Anti-Semitism, A History of Hate. Their whole victim status, their victimhood, they're weaponized, all through their antithesis, the Christians. And everybody's going to wish they listened to me about Christian-controlled opposition and how Christian anti-Semitism is a trap and is the dead end where we're guaranteed to lose. Here he is again. I was going to cover this the other day before he did it again with Matt Baker.
It matters a lot, Jew. Yeah, because that assassination, the killing of President John F. Kennedy, that wasn't the end. That was just the beginning. As a matter of fact, just 4 years later, American soldiers aboard the USS Liberty were slaughtered by the same illegitimate Jewish nation state that killed their president. A year after that, Robert F. Kennedy was shot down by the very same people. The Kennedy assassination was just a precursor to the World Trade Center bombing, to 9/11, to the countless acts of terror and atrocities all over the world, including those happening right now in Gaza. Because once the Jews killed Kennedy, once they put their man in the White House and completed their total takeover of the United States government, they gave themselves a license to kill, literally. They believed that they were chosen to rule over the entire world, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And now here we are.
And you want the Jewish Messiah to also rule over the entire world.
62 years later after the assassination of JFK, and we're living in an occupied country.
I know, huh? The whole 110 thing, too. It's like you're telling me that you failed to solve the problem 110 times? They're like, oh, Christians kicked them out so many times. First of all, your Jews weren't in any non-Christian controlled countries to be kicked out. What did the pagans do to the Jews before Christianity existed? Christianity ended up shielding Judaism and protecting Judaism and ensured the survival of Judaism while actually wiping out all the paganism in ancient European culture. The fact that they brag about it's like so 109 times and you still let it keep happening. Sounds like it's a pretty failed opposition to me.
A country that's owned, operated, and completely dominated by Jews with their base of operations halfway across the world in Israel. Our political system is owned by AIPAC, a Jewish-Israeli front group, the very same influence operation that JFK wanted to see registered as a foreign agent. But of course, that never happened. And just last year, they bought the White House. Again, they paid $100 million for Donald Trump to be installed as president to wage war on behalf of Israel, just like he's doing right now in Yemen and soon in Iran. It's very clear what happened here. This country has been taken over by Jews, and it'll remain that way until we do what our ancestors would have done, what they did do more than 1,000 times in 109 countries.
Dude, to brag about this, like this is a big W. It's like, oh, we got this security system for the house, and we've been broken into 109 times, but we need to, renew our contract with the security system. That's what it sounds like. Bragging about this.
This death, the destruction, the communism, the depravity, the molestation, the murder of the American people, it will continue until we throw this menace out of our homeland, until we make America the 110th country to expel the synagogue of Satan.
Synagogue of Satan. The synagogue of Satan,
be honest, is really the bare minimum punishment for murdering our president.
So Mossad killed JFK 50 years ago. He thinks he has a case that all Jews are going to be kicked out of the country because Mossad killed JFK 50 years ago. Does he really think that that's where America is at right now? Is he this delusional, guys? Does he not realize that that's not going to happen? And all he's doing is giving ammunition to the Jews to crack down on us harder, to get us banned from more places, to do hate speech laws like Europe. That's all this is doing. Watch, you'll see. Oh, Stu, you're 2 years into it, huh? Well, I'm 10 years ahead of you, buddy, and you're only helping the Jews. Why is everybody not saying this to him? I'm seeing everybody cheer his network of Christian-controlled op shills all cheerleading this along. You guys are going to get us all crushed.
Never forget what these demons did.
Demons. They're all demons. They're all the synagogue of Satan.
And as you see all of these media figures, people like Alex Jones and DC Drano jumping up and down on X, talking all about the CIA and the deep state and the globalists while refusing to say who those people actually work for. And as you see people like Ben Shapiro saying, don't worry about it. Nobody cares about Kennedy. It was a long time ago. You know what? Just remember this. The Jews and their Shabbos goys are running scared.
Are they really scared? Congress is bending over backwards. All of our political leadership is going to the wall and you know, all voting for the resolutions to condemn anti-Semitism. Do you really think they're scared? You really think they're scared of Jesus returning? No, they're not. Maybe some Jews have been scared because that's how they like to control Jews as well, to keep them scared. Stu's going to get us all killed. He's helping the Jews. Vocus Spirit says, I really can't stand Stu Peters. He makes the entire topic look ridiculous. He is the perfect controlled opposition. Whether he's on the payroll or not, whether he's aware of it or not, he's 100% controlled opposition.
They're terrified of an awakened American people because they know that once they have been exposed, there's no going back. History has taught us that time and time again. The Jews killed Kennedy. 110 coming soon.
So, assuming the Mossad did kill Kennedy, you think he has a case that all Jews today are going to be deported, like as if all Jews were in on it? This guy's living in la la land. This is a pipe dream. We'll see. We'll see. We only got the most Zionist president ever. You think, what is Trump? You think Trump's going to kick out the Jews? We'll see in a few years, Stu, if there's more hate speech laws, if the Jews have more power, or if they're kicked out of America. We'll see. We'll see how this ages. So Rabbi Shmuley's daughter did a video talking about these guys and Christian anti-Semitism. I wanted to break this down for you, show you how she knows exactly what she's doing. All of her rhetoric, it's like it was written by a master Kabbalist or something. She heavily emphasizes the Christian opposition, scapegoats them within the Judeo-dialectic. She highlights the absurdity of Christians accusing Jews of killing God. You can't get a dumber accusation against Jews than they killed God. Your problem with Jews is they rejected their Messiah. They gave you your Savior and your blood atonement sacrifice. They fulfilled God's plan by rejecting the Messiah to go to the Gentiles. Through their transgression, salvation was brought to the Gentiles. They're the God slayers, accusing them of killing God. And then she uses the threat of Christians to turn Jews back towards Judaism. You'll see that. And by the way, her and her dad get VIP treatment at the Vatican. And all of the Christian leadership is on their side. Regardless if you internet Christians say they're not real Christians. The Christian establishment and the Christian leadership is on the side of Shmuley and his daughter, not on your side. They will condemn you as heretics and antichrist and satanic.
And just last week, Candace Owens confirmed.
So this is Rabbi Shmuley's daughter.
I don't know if you guys are aware that at the moment, X is a cesspool of the most disgusting, disturbing, horrific Jew hatred that I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's all centered around conspiracy theories. Israel, according to these wild, soulless beasts like Candace Owens.
Wild, soulless beasts? Was that a Talmud quote? The souls of the Gentiles are soulless beasts like animals.
Ian Carroll, Nick Fuentes was behind the murder of JFK. Israel's also the one that...
Yeah, Conspiracy Truther says the anti-Semites will become our most dependable friends. The anti-Semitic nations are allies. Theodore Herzl. Right, and we're not saying don't criticize Jews or Jewish power. We're saying you have to do it strategically and not like morons and not in a counterproductive way. Where's my book about, I'll keep playing this and look for the book right now. Read the quote from you guys. Oops, not that.
That attacked America on 9/11. Israel's running a worldwide pedophile ring. Israel has a master plan to dominate America. Jews have been ritually slaughtering Christians for 2,000 years. Israel's controlling American politicians via blackmail.
And what they do is they'll lump in all of the true things with all of the kooky Christian nonsense to smear it by association. That's why they do that.
And
that's what you're giving them. You're giving them an out by saying the stupid Christian controlled op talking points. Which, by the way, Christians have been saying for decades and centuries. And where has it gotten us? Jews more powerful than ever? Christianity more kosher than ever? That's where it's gotten us?
Last week, Candace Owens confirmed that RFK Jr. is actually being controlled and blackmailed by Israel and by my father, Rabbi Shmuley, who she called a demon. We talk a lot about Islamist Jew hatred, but this...
See, the demonization. Oy vey, they're calling us demons. Oy vey, they say we drink baby blood. Oh, they say we worship the devil. They accuse us of killing God. These are not serious accusations. These are so dismissible and discrediting.
Tsunami of Jew hatred we're seeing online, which is being headed by Candace Owens, is the purest form of ancient Catholic Christian Jew hatred, the most effective and dangerous hatred the world has ever seen. It's called...
See, the biggest villains the world has ever seen, really trying to highlight the Christians. And she's not doing this because she's scared of Christians. She knows the way this game ends. She knows the game that's being played here, the Jacob and Esau shit. And what has she said here? I was going to...
Like Christian Jew hatred we're seeing online, which is being headed...
Oh, yeah, headed by Candace Owens. So the woman who got famous through Daily Wire Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager and Charlie Kirk's TPUSA. So the woman that got astroturfed, propped up by a bunch of Zionist networks, who's now Catholic and doing all the controlled opposition Catholic bullshit. That's who's the black woman that is leading the movement. The woman that never talked about Jews until the last few years. She's the leader with all the Christian controlled op nonsense. The woman that the Jews made famous, that's who's leading the opposition. See how that goes? She's leading the opposition to Jews, but she says herself she's a Christian, so she doesn't condemn Judaism and won't criticize the Torah, which is the root of everything Jewish.
By Candace Owens is the purest form of ancient Catholic Christian Jew hatred, the most effective and dangerous hatred the world has ever seen. It's called the conspiracy theory. It's dangerous because the haters never need any proof. Early Christians couldn't get us Jews to convert to Christianity, and even worse, we were a constant reminder that majority of what they had came from our religion. So what did they do? They didn't just kill us. They created myths around us, conspiracies that no one could ever disprove because there was no proof to begin with. Did you know?
It's funny how they say like they created conspiracies. It was Jews that created Christianity. She'll say they're not real Jews. And then the Christians will say, no, you're not the real Jews.
That Jews killed God?
And that's where we're at.
How does one kill God exactly?
See what I'm saying? You think this is the winning talking point? You want to make these online Christians want to insist on Jews killed Jesus as central to their whole platform. Do you not realize that to most of the world, they think you're deranged kooks crying about Jews killing Jesus? Your God can die? Do you realize how discrediting this is?
Created myths around us, conspiracies that no one could ever disprove because there was no proof to begin with. Did you know that Jews killed God? How does one kill God exactly? It doesn't matter. Just trust us. The Jews really did kill God. Did you know that Jews have horns and that they're really...
They say trust us It was Jews. Christians trust Jews when they say the Jews killed God. And then she goes through all the list of all the stupid shit Christians say, because you guys are the scapegoats, you guys are the clowns, you guys are turned into the villains. It's like Jews are scapegoated in the Christian story, and then the Christians, because of that, are scapegoated in the real world.
Demons in human bodies? Well, how do you know that? What's your proof? It doesn't matter. It does. Just trust us. Jews are demonic and satanic. Trust us. Did you know that Jews are rejected by God and that God hates them until they convert to Christianity? Really? What's your proof? Because I remember God giving the Jews.
The proof is that you're cursed to rule the world. The Jews killed Jesus, so now they're cursed to completely hijack Christianity. They're cursed. That's why they were able to return to their land and are a global power with nukes and tons of control over America. They're cursed to rule over us until Jesus returns. One hell of a curse, right?
Jews the Torah and calling them his chosen nation. It doesn't matter. Just trust us. You don't need any proof. God hates them. They are rejected. The Catholic Church created a paranoia around Jews that could never be disproved, which led to Jews being tortured in Europe for 2,000 years, culminating in the Holocaust. The Holocaust.
See? The victims, bad Christians. Christians want a genocide.
Did not happen.
By the way, oh, this is my post. Her post has like a few thousand likes, I think.
Out of nowhere. It came after 2,000 years of Europeans being suspicious and paranoid about Jewish people. You can see this the most with Candace Owens.
For the wrong
She's
reasons.
Telling millions of people that Israel, the Jewish homeland, murdered a sitting American president, JFK. She never once ever gave any kind of proof. She just kept telling everyone, we'll see it in the JFK files. The JFK files.
And that's not true. And that would be stupid to say we're going to get the truth. Yeah, our Zionist government is going to release the files that show that Israel was behind it, as if that would ever happen. But to say there's zero proof, that's not true. John Garata says, huge shout out to Conspiracy Truther for being our Paul and sharing the gospel of truth on Instagram, guys. We should make Instagram accounts. There's much better algorithm there. Yeah, I'm going to start posting on Instagram too, I think. I've heard that they've lightened up the propaganda. And we got White Knight on Rumble says, Rumble still shadow banning, censoring you. The Live Now section list current live streams in order of the viewer count. Not once has any of your live streams showed up in a Live Now. Never. I know it doesn't show up on the Live Now where I should be on the list of viewers, and it won't give me a check mark either. I don't get the kosher Rumble check mark.
80,000 pages were released, and everyone saw that Israel had absolutely nothing to do with JFK's murder. But that lack of...
Here, let's see. Rabbi Talmudheimer says they are just reveling in the fact that they can use Christians as the perfect scapegoat to project literally every single evil tactic that Jews themselves have used against non-Jews. They're the perfect scapegoat. Christians are literally the scapegoats. Oh, yes, and you think you can use our own Torah against us? Hey, don't you know how much evil stuff we put in there about you? Now we can claim you are using evil demonization tactics against us. Right.
Of proof only made her double down on her conviction, saying that the government was obviously hiding Israel's involvement. This is the danger of conspiracy theories. The lack of proof. Is there proof that the conspiracy is true? Like I said, this hatred is not new, it's ancient, which means that the way we handle this hatred is also not new and is ancient. How do we Jews react to this? Of course we must fight back, but we must fight back as Jews.
See, this is what they do. The Christian anti-Semitism has kept Jews separate because they're supposed to dwell alone. They're supposed to stay away from the Gentiles when they're in exile and continue following their commandments as God's test. So the Christianity keeps Jews locked into the Torah. It makes Jews turn inward and become more Jewish and have more tribal identity and in-group preference and to believe in the Torah more.
Our strength as Jews has always been in cleaving to our holy Torah, in being Jews who make zero concessions when it comes to halacha, Jewish law.
So again, trying to promote the Torah. The Christians online like Stu will say, oh, they don't even believe the Torah because they can't criticize the Torah. They say they don't believe it. They do. They believe the Torah. The Talmud expands in his interpretation and commentaries on the Torah and some other things. But you go through the Talmud, every paragraph basically is quoting some verse from the Torah. Kabbalah, same thing, more mystical, but rooted in the Torah. And these Christians online will never criticize the Torah. In fact, they'll lie and run cover for it and say the Jews don't believe in the Torah and that they're fake Jews. Completely missing the point. John Garada says, guys, share this on Twitter. The Christ Cucks will never retweet this. This needs to circulate. It completely destroys the Jesus wasn't Jewish cope. I retweeted it twice, John. Everybody see that in the chat? Please give that a retweet. We'll play it later.
Our success has always been rooted in our Jewish identity, in being God's chosen nation and saying it proudly, in proclaiming to the world that yes, God gave us Jews the land of Israel, and no, we will never apologize for it. This tsunami of Jew hatred feels overwhelming, but don't allow it to scare you. We Jews have God on our side, and MS, truth, always win.
God on our side, and they're going to win. They're not scared. In fact, they have so much confidence they're going to win because their opposition is these easily dismissible Christian retards. And the Muslim Christian alliance, according to their Gog and Magog plan, there are no Jews in the world actually worried about Jesus returning. Look at this. Okay, the paradox. I'm sorry, Stu. I'm about a decade ahead of you now. Learn about how Jews actually view Christian anti-Semitism. The paradox of anti-Semitism. I'm going to read you a couple quotes now. Anti-Semitism, we believe, must be crushed, whatever its form. It is a cancer in the body of society that must be eradicated. Any attack on Jews or Israel is regarded as a grave danger. Yet, it must be recognized that in the past, anti-Semitism has frequently led to the enrichment of Jewish heritage. Through the ages, discrimination and persecution intensified the Jewish determination to rely on God and live in accordance with the covenant. It is a paradox that in modern times, the more we have assimilated, the more we have distanced ourselves from the Jewish heritage. See, they literally need Christian anti-Semitism to survive. Rather than being our most ferocious enemy, anti-Semitism has, I believe, often fostered Jewish survival. Hostility towards Judaism and the Jewish people has isolated us as a nation and intensified our determination to survive. The more the outside world hated us, the more we relied on God to save us. And then they're God's suffering servants. What modern Jews have failed to grasp are the positive benefits of anti-Jewish hostility. It has frequently been the case that contempt for the Jew has united the Jewish people and forced them to turn inwards, shunning the attractions of the Gentile world. They have drawn together in their determination to flourish. This Jew wrote this book and says, my only point was that in the past, Jewish survival and Jew hatred have been interconnected. And it says anti-Semitism can have positive benefits. And last quote, the paradox of Jewish life is that hatred and Jewish survival have been interrelated for thousands of years, and that without anti-Semitism, we may be doomed to extinction. And clowns like Stu Peters and all the rest of the red-pilled noticer online Christian Muslim alliance controlled opposition are giving them exactly everything they want, according to the script, according to the plan. And if we don't wake up to the Christian question, we don't solve the Christian problem, we're going to be destroyed. People need to start paying attention. You know, it's funny. I was watching an interview I did, or a panel I was on 2 years ago. It was the end of 2023. And I said all this. Trump's going to get back in. There's going to be a huge rise in Christian anti-Semitism. They're going to use it for the big crackdown and the rug pull on Edom. I'll be clipping that and putting that up very soon. You'll see how it aged, how I know what I'm talking about. It's clear how this game ends out. Like, look at this. This person says, can't stop the inevitable. It's about to be 110 and they know it. Really? You really think they know that? Or you think that they're just highlighting a few of you online sus Fed posters? Like, imagine thinking it's inevitable that Jews are about to be expelled from America. It looks to me like it's inevitable that they're consolidating their power more than ever. And they're about to make anti-Semitism illegal. That's what it looks like to me. Looks to me like they're going to slaughter the rest of Gaza, take Gaza, get us in a war with Iran. They're already at war with Yemen for Israel, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and Iran, and then Russia. That's what seems inevitable, that their Gog and Magog plan is about to unfold, that their narrative about the rising anti-Semitism in Edom, they're going to be sending anti-Semites to the gulags in El Salvador. They're going to be deporting anti-Semites and sending anti-Semites to the gulag before they're going to expel any Jews. Like, Homeland Security gives like 90% plus of their funds to protecting Jewish schools and synagogues, and you think that like our government's about to expel Jews? Seriously, how could they be so out of touch? What kind of alternative reality are they living in? I always want to say I'm going to go all day, but my throat is already... John asked for 10. Thank you, John. Says, will there be a rematch with Stu Peters? He doesn't want any. Are you kidding me? I would absolutely destroy Stu, and he knows it. And Stu can't go debate anybody. He makes a fool of himself. You think Jake Shields and Dan Bilzerian and Stu are going to be able to go toe-to-toe with some informed Zionist? No, the scum clowns rise to the top, and it's not by accident. It's like how can you say in the same breath, like these guys do, that Jews like completely run our government and our politicians, but then also that you think that they're about to be kicked out of the country? How could you be that delusional? Is Stu and these people really that stupid? They might be. Here she is in Rome. Her dad and her went to Rome recently. Her dad's a VIP at the Vatican. And the Vatican's bending over backwards to condemn anti-Semitism all the time and to open up the borders of Europe. The Pope condemns Trump's deportations. Let's see this.
Hey guys, we are in Vatican City. I'm in front of St. Peter's Basilica, and I don't know how to describe what it's like to be a Jew in Rome. There are so many words to describe it. One of the words I would use would be bizarre. And I say that because as a Jew, we obviously believe in Hashem as God. We don't believe that God can ever take a human form. So we think that Jesus was just a Jewish rabbi, right? He was a Jew, he was a rabbi, and that's it. And it's
Jesus is a Jew, is a rabbi. The chutzpah of these Christians online too. Do they have any actual responses to our criticisms? No, they don't. All they do is logical fallacies, ad hominem, straw man, and lies and slander. That's all they do. Imagine the chutzpah of a Christian who worships a circumcised king of the Jews, rabbi, the Jewish Messiah, the Davidic Messiah of Judah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, that says salvation is from the Jews. And then they have the chutzpah to call pagans rabbi and pagans Jews. Christians are spiritually Jewish. They're circumcised of the heart. They're inward Jews. They want to have the Jewish covenant. They want to be the new Israel. They worship the Jewish God and the king of the Jews, a rabbi. And then they call us rabbis for actually exposing all of Judaism and all of its offshoots. It's outrageous how stupid they are.
It's incredibly bizarre and strange to me. So, everywhere you go in Italy, you see, every museum, every square, everything is Christianity. And to us, Jesus was a Jewish rabbi. And it's so interesting to see.
Her dad wrote a book, Kosher Jesus, by the way, explaining how kosher the real Jesus was and how it was just evil Gentiles that twisted Jesus's message to make it anti-Jewish. It's not what happened. I mean, maybe they did change it a little bit as time went on, but the core of it was there, and it was written by Jews.
The world made an empire out of this Jewish man, and it's so, my mind, it's hard to grasp it. St. Peter's Basilica is supposedly built on top of where St. Peter, the first pope of the Catholic Church, is buried. And his real name was Simon. He was from Israel. He was an Israeli. He was a Jewish man. Again, very interesting and
Are Christians going to cope and say Peter wasn't Jewish? Even the New Testament says Peter and Paul were having fights over if Gentiles could even convert to Christianity. Peter didn't even want to, he was such a Jewish supremacist, he didn't even want to sit down and eat with Gentiles. And you're going to tell me he wasn't Jewish. Christians will be like, yeah, Volkish spirit. Christians will be like, you believe the rabbis when they say Jesus is Jewish, but then contradict themselves and say the Jews say they hate Jesus. Which one is it? I know. They're so stupid. We're overwhelmed by brainwashed, subtarded sheep. That's the reality. We're overwhelmed by just totally cucked sheep.
Strange to my mind, and it's hard for me to grasp. The even stranger thing is, and I'm a big student of Jewish history. I'm obsessed with Jewish history. We have an amazing relationship with Christians now, thank God, but it was not like that for about 2,000 years. It's strange enough that that ancient Christians and Christianity used our Torah. They took the Torah. They told us that we were no longer the chosen nation they were. Our testament was old. There's a new one.
Yeah, who took the Torah? They always try to do this. They try to blame Gentiles for Christianity. It began as the Jesus movement was a completely Jewish movement. The Jews were interpreting their own Torah. That's who the first Christians were.
We are no longer, there's a new Israel where the old Israel were kind of rejected. All of that is strange enough, but they took.
It's pathetic. You're not wanting to be the new Israel is not opposing Israel. Believing that you're the heavenly temple is not anti-Jewish temple. They're wannabe Jews. 100%. Do I want to have a Jewish covenant? Do I want to be a sheep following the Jewish shepherd? How about we be the real Europe? What's with this desire to be the real Jews, the real Israel?
Jewish,
it's embarrassing.
90% of Christian values comes from the Torah. A lot of people use the word Judeo-Christian values. They're really Jewish values that Christians adopted and adapted to. But the strangest part is that they adopted all of Judaism. In every Christian Bible, the Torah is the first book you read. It's not, the weirdest part is that they then turned on us and killed us for 2,000 years. I can't, guys. the more I keep telling myself, Rachel, you just don't study enough. You need to study more. But the more I study, the less sense it makes. It is so strange to me that for 2,000 years, the Christians told the world we killed God. How does anyone kill God? What does that even mean? I don't know. I can't understand it. They told the world that we were demons in human form.
Like, how much power do you have? How much power are you attributing to the Jews to say they could kill God? They're God slayers. You're elevating them as like the villains that are central to your religion. The Christian needs the Jews. And they get off on the Jews rejecting Jesus. That's what they're supposed to do according to Christianity. Only in the end will they believe in Jesus. But they have to be protected and survive until the end as Jews. And the Jews and all normal people, they hear crazy Christians complaining about Jews killing God, and they think anti-Semites are absolutely deranged and insane. Do you not get that?
That we were an example of what it means to reject God. That's why we suffer so much. God wants us to be an example of human suffering, to show what happens when you reject Jesus as God. But all the while, they were using our Torah, and our Torah said not to worship anything that is physical. So, you know, being here, I love Rome, I love Italy, but it is very bizarre to me. It is so strange how this entire religion was built out of one Jewish man. And then they turned on the Jews for not accepting that Jewish man as God, when the Torah itself says that God has no form.
Here's your average Christian politician, Matt Schlapp. What is he? CPAC. He's the head of CPAC at the wall. Every single time. Average Christian. Imagine seeing all of our politicians do this, and then to be Stu Peters and be yelling about a final solution like that's about to happen. Trump says he's not joking about the third term like I called. He's going to come back in the exact fashion he did, as Zionist as he is. The war is unfolding like he is. The stock market now collapsing, although I don't think we're seeing the final collapse right now. I still think we're going to see a little bit of a bump and a so-called golden age of Edom. I covered this last stream. Apparently Trump has his Trump Bible is manufactured in China, and Jesus take the tariff. Why Trump's Bibles could soon get more expensive thanks to Trump's tariffs. Howard Lutnick, Trump's Jewish Commerce Secretary, talking about their visit to the Rebbe's grave. I haven't checked this yet. Let's see this.
He says, look, I'm not sure what to do October 7th, right? Why don't we figure out what I should be doing October 7th? So we decided we're going to go out to the Ohel, which is a super religious Hasidic Jewish Messiah. You know, the people who wear black hats think he's the Messiah. And they have a crypt for him where you write a note and you put a note in.
The people in the black hats think he's the Messiah. That's funny.
The people who wear black hats think he's the Messiah. And they have a crypt for him where you write a note and you put it.
It's not even all of them. All of Chabad doesn't think he's Messiah.
A note in. Mm-hmm. All right. And so we agreed we'd go out to that grave site, and we'd probably win 60,000 of those kind of voters. That's pretty cool for a day. And then we drove.
They literally just did it just for the photo op to get Jews to vote for him.
There and back together.
He's like literally talking about how they're just trying to pander to Jews to get the Jewish vote.
Of us. So I had an hour and a half, just he and me talking. And I said, I want to balance the budget of the United States of America. And this is the way we're going to do it. No one's ever checked the just under $4 trillion of entitlements. Every politician thinks what you have to do is you have to take the retirement age from 65 and make it a 70. Right. And you have to do this and this and this and this because they never think about the money. Totally. But people like us would say, what's the first thing you do? Well, what's the value I'm getting for my money?
Okay.
He says, look.
This guy, Tyson Hockley, I think he's like an Andrew Tate guy. He got a couple interviews with Jordan Peterson and his wife. I haven't watched him yet, but let's check these out. 1.1 million views, 11,000 likes. I actually DM'd with this guy the other day. I saw he was following me, and I followed him back, and he DM'd me. He's got a podcast. I think he's an Andrew Tate guy. He said he wanted to do something, Pretty sure he's a Christian or maybe converting to Islam or something. I'm not exactly sure.
How you doing? Good. How are you?
What's your name?
Tyson. I'm a podcaster. I did an interview with Andy.
I see.
Yeah. So I was wondering, would you be down just to do like a quick, like one question interview for my channel? Like
Sure.
just one question.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think about these theories that are kind of going around right now that Jewish Zionists like control the world? What do you think about people that are saying that?
Well, they've been saying it for.
How about not control the world? How about like controlling the world is like a higher bar to jump. How about controlling America? How about dominant? And how about lots of influence in America? Would have been easier for him to wiggle out of.
That Jewish Zionists like control the world. What do you think about people that are saying that?
Well, they've been saying it for like 2,000 years, so it's a quick way for dimwits to gain moral virtue at the expense of other people.
Do you believe in that stuff? Because like it's gaining a lot of popularity, and why do you think narratives like that may not be true stick on and gain so much popularity? Like I see on Twitter like all that stuff, but that's not necessarily to say it's true, but it spreads like wildfire. So why do you think that narrative in specific, that like Jewish people control the world?
It's easy for people to find someone to blame,
right?
Rather than trying to do something useful themselves.
So it's like scapegoating, kind of.
Yes, definitely,
for sure.
It's a classic example of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
It's weird. I've seen other clips of Peterson saying like they do have lots of power because they're so smart. That's usually what he says. So now all of a sudden they don't anymore, and everybody's just making stuff up. Tales of the Levant for 10, thank you, bro, says, thanks for what you do, Adam. Also, I tagged you in a good old blasphemy clip on X to lift all our spirits. I'll look for that right now. All right, and he also got an interview with Jordan's wife, apparently. I don't know how he's pulling
more
these.
knowledgeable about this.
I've been seeing a lot of people on the internet saying like
he's got a Buddha. I'm not sure if I think he's Christian, but it's weird that he has a Buddha quote on his wall.
I've been seeing a lot of people on the internet saying like Jewish people like control the world. What do you think about that? I'm not like super duper educated with that, but a lot of people are saying it's like something called like Zionism and stuff. What do you and Jordan think about like people that say that?
Well, I couldn't say anything about Jordan because Jordan has his own opinions, and he's much more knowledgeable about this. You know, Jewish people are they're smart, and so they end up being in positions of influence because they're smart. But there's not very many of them compared to other types of people. And so they're a minority, but they're very smart. So they're going to be in control more than other people for the number of people that are Jewish. That's the thing, is there aren't very many of them, but there's more smart Jews than there are, say, of the same size of population of a different nationality, a different nationality of people. So it's going to appear that they are more in control, but it's complicated.
What is she doing? An interview from a prison cell? What is this? An RV or something?
It's complicated. It's more complicated than that.
It's more complicated. That's usually what they say. Oh, they're just smarter. Pagan for Life says, what up, Adam? Just enjoying my Friday with you guys. Doing what I love to do most. What's up with you, Pagan for Life? Return to Myth 98. Thank you, buddy. For 30 says, I might get fried for saying this, but the more popular the JQ becomes, the less I care about it. I don't even care to engage in conversations about Jewish power anymore. I think from now on, I might just focus on my people and my answers, only to starve and weed out the Jewish beast. I mean, it's getting so clownish, especially on Twitter. It's all the kosher nonsense, the kosher distraction bullshit. It's like the kookier somebody is, the more ridiculous their claim is, the more viral it is. People are like, oh, we're waking up more than ever. So many people are getting red-pilled. Everybody's noticing. I see just the goy slop and the kosher anti-Semitism exploding more than ever. That's what I see. And we'll see. I guess we'll see in a few years how this pans out. We'll see who was right once again. My track record's been on point. Thank you, John. Got us over 200. Yeah, I know. It's like the Jews are doing their Jewish things. The rabbis have their agenda. We've exposed it. It's out in the open now. And the problem is we can't get any of the Christians and the Muslims to actually address what the actual conspiracy is. They'd rather just do their controlled op bullshit. They'd rather just cry and cry over Jesus. If you think the best way to oppose the Jews is to believe in their prophecies and worship their God and bow down to their Messiah, you've been psyoped. Dr. Phil, who's a huge Zionist now on Piers Morgan.
You're never going to learn anything until you get out of your bubble. You learn by proving yourself wrong. And we've lost that in this country. And I think it's starting to come back. And, you know, I speak out on behalf of Israel a lot. And that does.
Lawful Pencil says, hey, Adam, why is Corey Mailer angry? I don't know what you're referencing specifically. You just mean in general? He attacks everyone who is asking historical facts. He's angry because he's got cognitive dissonance, that he hates Jews, but he believes in the Jewish Messiah. He's conflicted that he worships a rabbi as God. That's the problem. That'll drive him crazy.
It doesn't mean that I hate Palestinians. It doesn't mean that I like the fact that people are getting killed in Gaza. I hate that. War is ugly. I hate that. But
how is Kabbalah Guru doing? I don't know. I think I have to look into it. I don't know what he's up to. I stopped following him a while ago. That'd be interesting to see.
Never going to tell me that what happened on October 7th was a good thing or a smart thing to happen. And I stand up for the state of Israel. And there are people that disagree, and I respect that they disagree. But you're not going to keep me from speaking out about that. I think it was wrong, and I say so. And my God, the death threats I get, the hate mail I get is terrible. And how I hear things on college campuses now that I never thought I would hear in my lifetime. The anti-Semitic rhetoric that I hear on our elite college campuses are shocking to me.
I know, they're like taking over the college campuses. The DOJ is investigating pro-Palestinian protesters. They're deporting students who are protesting against Israel. And somehow you think that these idiots think the Jews are about to be exiled from America? Expelled from America, excuse me. How could they can't be that stupid. They can't be that delusional. So they're nowhere near doing anything like that. It's the complete opposite. So really all that rhetoric does is help Jews. How is that not obvious to everybody? That's all that's going on. All right, let's do these Jews. They don't know how to deal with me. Because I actually know what I'm talking about. I'm not easily dismissed as the Christians and the Muslims, which Jews are used to dealing with. So these Jews in a space, thanks to Elon von Braun for finding this, some Jews in a space were like playing clips of me and talking about me, and they're like dumbfounded. They're like in awe. They don't know what to think. These Jews are like, we've got one that can see. Perfect they live comparison. Here's one of them.
You're the synagogue of Satan.
Hold on, actually, I think this isn't the first one we want to start with. Let's go to the first one.
Thinking you should love your enemies. I don't know where the Christians.
This Jewish woman sounds like the mom from Family Guy.
Sorts of things, and even thinking you should love your enemies. I don't know where the Christians got that idea. Like, how can you love your enemies? That's how people get killed. I mean,
his ad just is no more news with under.
Listen to this from Adam Green. Can you hear this?
They're telling themselves that so that they don't have to actually.
I told him he had a messianic complex.
I think you're right.
They're the synagogue of Satan. Jesus said they're the synagogue of Satan. Revelation is a Jewish mystical apocalyptic book written by a Jew. And Revelation 3:9, this
a Jew, and it's all about anti-Rome, by the way, and vengeance on Rome after the temple was destroyed.
Says they say they're Jews, but not. Why are they not real Jews? Because they don't believe in Jesus?
Yeah, only the real Jews. You're not a real Jew if you don't believe in Jesus. But Jesus wasn't Jewish. It's not a Jewish movement. The Christians are so dumb, they don't understand how they contradict themselves so much.
Who fits the description?
Yeah, I'm the one with the messianic complex. The one constantly talking about their Moshiach and exposing their Moshiach agenda. No, the Jews who think they're chosen by God and that they're waiting for the Messiah. But they claim projection much.
Of saying they're Jews, but not.
Christians.
If not.
Wow.
Christians who say.
Christians. They're blowing the shofar. They're trying to.
I'm talking about. He realizes it, but he's using it for a bad purpose.
The true.
He realizes it, but he's doing it for a bad purpose. So he's right, but he's still bad.
Israel.
He wants to take down Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
And then it says, in the end, they will bow down to you.
They're like, he's criticizing Christians, but he's only criticizing them because they're Jewish and they're wannabe Jews. That's funny.
Oh, that's
Which
my
is
line.
what you see all throughout Jewish literature.
Hold on, what does he say is his line?
Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
And then it says, in the end, they will bow down to you.
Oh, that's
Which
my
is
line.
what you see all throughout Jewish literature, that in the end, the Gentiles are going to bow down to the Jews. It's not Jesus said it. It's not an eyewitness and Jesus went up to the Jews and said, you're the synagogue of Satan. It's angel Jesus speaking to some guy, if you believe John the Jew.
He's smart.
They're like, oh, he actually knows. See, I'm not easily dismissible like the Christians are. They can just wipe you away. They can just go, oh, you're a kook. You say the dumbest things. You don't even know. Like you're so easily disprovable. They can't do that to me. They don't know how to handle it. And that's why all the kook Christians get all the attention and highlighted. This guy believes all Jews are the Messiah. Yeah, they think that like some Jews think that like collectively they're all the Messiah.
Even at the very minimum, it's two Jewish sects calling each other satanic. Just like Christians today call each other satanic all the time. The Protestants call the Vatican satanic. The Orthodox call the Protestants satanic. The Catholics say the Protestants aren't real Christians. Christianity doesn't just say Jews are satanic for not believing in Jesus. That extends to the billions of pagans throughout the world are also included in being called satanic and antichrist if you don't believe.
All right, let's do the next one.
You're the synagogue of Satan. Said, you're the synagogue of Satan. It's angel Jesus speaking to some guy, just like Christians today call each other satanic all the time. The Protestants call the Vatican satanic. The Orthodox call the Protestants satanic. The Catholics say the Protestants aren't real Christians.
Christians say we're satanic. The rabbis say the Christians are satanic. So look at this. What I was referencing was this information, by the way. So look at this. Tell me how this fits in. Revelation 3:9, synagogue of Satan, claim to be Jews, though they are not. They are liars. I will make them come and fall down at your feet and acknowledge that I have loved you. Completely consistent with all of Jewish literature. Like in Isaiah 49:23, the kings and queens of the Gentiles, they will bow down before you with their faces to the ground. They will lick the dust at your feet. And then also, they will bow down before you and plead with you, saying, surely God is with you, and there is no other. There is no other God. So a Jew wrote Revelations, a messianic apocalyptic Jew with his visions of the mystical Jesus, wrote up some nonsense about destroying Rome, getting vengeance on Rome, and how the people who say they're Jews but not, i.e. Christians, who say they're the new Israel and they have the new covenant and their inward spiritual circumcised hearts, that they will come and fall down at your feet and acknowledge that I have loved you. Completely consistent with the rest of Judaism, where it says in Isaiah 61, their descendants, the Jews' descendants, will be known among the nations. All who see them will acknowledge that they are the people the Lord has blessed. This is about the nations, the Goyim, acknowledging that the Jews are blessed. Is this not exactly like, I will make them come and fall down at your feet? Isaiah 60. The children of your oppressors will come bowing before you. So the Christian oppressors of the Jews, the descendants of them, all who despise you, the Jews, will bow down at your feet. You see that? I will make them come and fall down at your feet. They will bow down before you and lick the dust at your feet. It's all about the Gentiles bowing down to the Jews. That's what this verse is about. Genesis 48, Judah, the Judeans, your brothers will praise you, and your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down to you. Psalm 22, which is a verse that they quote mine to create the Jesus narrative. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord. All the families of the Goyim will bow down before him. For dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the Goyim. My Odysee accounts, Christians will read this and say, based. It's all the Bible is about the Jews and the Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, conquering the nations and the Goyim. In the Gospel of Judas, Jesus is talking to Judas, where he gives him asks him to betray Jesus to fulfill the prophecies. And it says, Jesus answered to Judas, he says, you will become the 13th, and you will be cursed by the other generations. So the Jews will be cursed, like the Christians blame them for killing God and say they're cursed for rejecting Jesus. And you will come to rule over them. The Jews, Judas, who represents the Jews, after being cursed by the Christians, will come to rule over them in the last days. They, the Christians, will curse your ascent to the holy generation. And also this is consistent with Zechariah 8. The Lord Almighty says, in those days 10 people from all languages and all Goyim will take firm hold of one Jew by the hem of his robe and say, let us go with you, because we have heard that God is with you. All these different verses, all about the Gentiles bowing down to the Jews in the end times. And that's what Revelation 3:9 is about. Revelation that also says that the Christians are going to be beheaded for believing in Jesus, and that Jesus, the Messiah, is going to come and smite the nations and tread the winepress of the nations and rule with the rod of iron over the nations.
Christianity doesn't just say Jews are satanic for not believing in Jesus. That extends to the billions of pagans throughout the world are also included in being called satanic and antichrist if you don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, so because of the Christian story, we always hear about the big victims are the Jews of killing God and being antichrist. But like, so what at the time? Like, compare how many billions of Gentiles were called satanic for not believing in the magical Jewish superhero, and how many Jews were also called the same thing. It's like Christians turn Gentiles against themselves and against their own people. Christians want to cite Jesus came not to bring peace but the sword. Oh, he's so badass. What's the rest of that verse say? To turn nation against nation and household against household? To turn families against families? And you wonder where the the division comes from.
Because of verses like this, Gentile Christians, former pagans, decided to destroy themselves and to impose the Jewish Messiah on everybody around the world.
Honestly, this guy teaches me something.
Yeah, he's smart. This is hyper-religious mental illness. This is
their goals of concrete.
No, but I mean, he's trying to say that the evil are the people that try to enforce their beliefs on other people.
He's too
Those are
obsessed.
satanic.
He's too obsessed with religion, and he needs to.
Oh yeah, so criticizing all the people that are obsessed with the Jewish religions, that makes me bad. That means I'm obsessed with religion, huh?
Jews are more powerful than ever. Jews and Zionism and Jews, all more powerful than ever. We've had 1,700 years of Christianity. We've had the Martin Luthers, and we've had the Father Coughlins. We've had the E. Michael Joneses. We've had all of the Christian-controlled autocracy, all of the rhetoric that were given to us from Jews. And where is it?
Give it to them. They stole it. They've asked 72 rabbis to translate the Torah into Greek.
Okay, that's a fake story. It was Jews who translated the Torah into the Septuagint. And it was what I meant by talking points they gave us. I mean, the creators of Christianity were all Jewish. They were mystical, apocalyptic, messianic Jewish sect. That's what I mean by Christianity was given to the Gentiles. It wasn't given to us. We were like lured into it. We were baited into following it. We were emotionally manipulated.
Coughlins. We've had the E. Michael Joneses. All of the rhetoric that were given to us from Jews. And where is it?
Give it to them. They stole it. They've asked 72 rabbis to translate the.
So Saul the Pharisee, became the apostle to the Gentiles. That's the Gentiles stealing it. They say they never proselytized. The Christianity proselytized to the Gentiles, and it was Jews. That's what I mean, lady. Christianity is a Jewish movement rooted in Judaism that targeted Gentiles. That's what I meant by talking points that were given to us.
The Torah into Greek. We gave it to them? Who are they kidding?
Them that call evil good. 33,000 likes on this one.
Let's see what else we got.
When have the Christians ever turned their other cheeks? Like, really?
I am the second coming of Christ. Okay. Here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi.
So this is me playing a clip of.
To me is woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. And if you'd like to dive into a little more scripture, I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
And Jesus say, synagogue of Satan. This is where they get the idea. And the kooks that think that this is predicting a prophecy of 1,000 years later, a group of Khazars are going to convert to the most hated and persecuted.
Yeah, but they got the idea from Christianity as non-Jews to try and become and pretend they're Jews.
The Bible.
Yeah.
Jews don't have to pretend we're Jews.
Israel. Like, no, it's not Judaism and the Torah that's a problem. It's only these people using it as their front. They're giving real Jews a bad name. It's not the the idea of Jews.
Anyway, he honestly, the way he brings things together, I'm like, whoa! I didn't realize how many things are tied together.
Well, he's also a good speaker. He commands a good room. He's got charisma.
Jews are literally glazing.
And he's smart. He is smart.
Yeah. He also prepares. He prepares these videos with all of these things that interconnect. And he brings videos and he posts rabbis giving Davar Torahs, and then he posts presidents and people like honoring Jews, and then he brings it all together. He brings Mizrahi in there.
So I have the receipts. I know what I'm talking about. They can't just dismiss me and say that I'm wrong and I'm stupid. Who's the real threat? The kooky Christians that they laugh at and make fun of and are easily debunked? I know if it was some Christian talking about you killed Jesus, they would just be laughing. Right, Volker Spirit? Oy vey, he knows all of our bullshit.
Intelligent.
He even brings
He's intelligent.
why Jacobson in there.
Yeah, but he brings a lot of edited videos of rabbis, and he they edit it, and they only take the parts where they want to show where a rabbi is saying a certain thing without the context, without the next.
No, lie. I've never taken rabbis out of context. Stop lying. Stop coping. There's the cope. Out of context. The rabbi's out of context. Edited bullshit. Yeah, we don't have to edit the rabbis. We're not cherry picking rabbis. We're not taking them out of context. Things are so bad, we don't need to do any of that. I couldn't make any of this up. There's way too much material already. Way too much material already there. We don't need to take anybody out of context.
No, I know, but
You know, I
for
would
the
be
most part,
worried.
already showing.
I wouldn't want Christians to lose everything where they aren't able to fight the Muslims who are going to be infiltrating. That's my worry.
They just want to use you to protect them from the Muslims. Let's hear. Is this another one?
I mean, sorts of things, and even thinking you should love your enemies. I don't know where the Christians got that idea. Like, how can you love your enemies? That's how people get killed. I mean,
Yeah, we condense the rabbis to the most important points. Like when we do a video that's like a 10-minute compilation of Jews talking about one specific concept or one topic, like, do you not understand what a compilation video is? The source material for all of those rabbi clips, like, it comes from hour-long, 2-hour-long yeshiva lessons. We can't play the whole 2 hours. We clip up the point where they're talking about the one thing. It's not out of context. Yeah, we always have the context. And they'll say it's out of context or it's not a real rabbi. It's the No True Scotsman out of context cope.
Is no more news with
Listen to this from Adam Green. Can you hear this?
They're telling themselves that so that they don't have to actually.
I told him he had a messianic complex.
Okay, we played this one already. Is this the one?
You're the synagogue of Satan.
Uh-oh.
I think you're right.
Angel Jesus speaking to some.
He's right. When have the Christians ever turned?
Okay, I think that might be all of it. I want to play this one and go pee and come back and keep going. I need to debate another Jew soon. See, whenever I debate Jews and a lot of times Christians, very often they don't know what they're getting themselves into, and they realize, oh, he's not like the other goys. Oh, we can't. And they always try to very frequently when I'll interact with a Jew, they'll try to be like, oh, you're a Christian anti-Semite. They like hope. They try to accuse me of that, and they go, oh, actually, no, I'm not. And then they don't know what to do. I know. It's like the Jews don't even have to debate because they got their shield of Christian controlled op doing their dirty work for them. All right, let's hear Friedman talking about how they're jailing protesters and doing everything for the Jews. Netanyahu, too.
These ignorant demonstrators. Who are they demonstrating for? For these murderers, these rapists, these mass killers. This is a reflection of a deep rot that has pervaded the intellectual hub of free societies. And this vilification of Israel, the Jewish people, and Western values has been propagated by a systemic alliance between the ultra-progressive left and radical Islam. It must be resolutely fought by civilized societies to safeguard their future. This is why we must all commend President Trump's decisive actions against anti-Semitism, and we must pressure other governments to do the same.
A government can do in 2 months more than any organization can do in its lifetime. And so when we talk about the importance of a bipartisan fight against anti-Semitism, which of course I endorse, and I, as my predecessor said, I condemn anti-Semitism on the right and on the left. I'm an equal opportunity condemner of anti-Semitism.
You're alluding to Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, none of them are any good on the right. On the left, I don't like any of these anti-Semites, and I'm not shy about it. But the government, the United States government, or the government of France, or the government of any other country, has the power to rein in anti-Semitism in a much more effective way. And you know, people say, well, you know, the governments are not in the business of changing the way people think. That's true, but, you know, to my thinking, most people who are, you know, anti-Semites, most of these people running around, we're not going to win their hearts and minds because they don't have hearts and they don't have minds. So, you know.
See, we don't actually have to debate them or disprove them. We just dehumanize them and say they don't have hearts or minds. And they're able to get away with this type of retorts because so many other Christians are just unhinged lunatics saying the stupidest things that are so easily disprovable. Yeah, dehumanizing Amalek rhetoric. They always say this too. Oh, we can't reason with them because they're unreasonable. We can't, you can't even engage with them because you just have to censor them. And
well, you know, the governments are not in the business of changing the way people think. That's true, but, you know, to my thinking, most people who are, you know, anti-Semites, most of these people running around, we're not going to win their hearts and minds because they don't have hearts and they don't have minds. So, you know, how are we going to...
It's just a law of nature. Esau hates Jacob for no reason. See where that rhetoric comes from? From the Kabbalist. Oh, they're just born with evil darkness hearts. It's a law of nature. Esau hates Jacob. It's part of the prophecy. And then you get retarded Christianity blaming them for killing God. And that's where we're at. How's that worked out for us?
There's no reason to think we're ever going to convince them, but we can deport them. We can put them in jail. We can make their lives miserable. We can cut off their funding. And that's what the Trump administration is doing for the first time.
Here, so does it sound like we're about there's about to be 110 to you guys? No? Well, then why are kooks like Stu Peters running around saying it? All that does is give them ammunition to justify putting us in jail, deporting us, making it illegal to criticize them, illegal to boycott them, make our lives miserable.
We can cut off their funding, and that's what the Trump administration doesn't think we're ever going to convince them. But we can deport them, we can put them in jail, we can make their lives miserable, we can cut off their funding, and that's what the Trump administration is doing for the first time.
Yeah, tired of winning? Tired of winning, huh? This is where the controlled op Christians have got us. Let's see. Do I want to do this satanic thing? I really wanted to go. I said I was going to go 3 hours, 4 hours, but my throat is killing. We can watch these. I just won't do too much talking. I want to watch these. Last week, a Satanist, which is cringe and stupid and only strengthens Christians' beliefs. Satan is the Jewish boogeyman, the satanic panic, playing into hyping up and pretending and LARPing like you believe in Satan to own the Christians backfires and does not work. It only strengthens and reaffirms it only scares them and pushes them towards Jesus. Satanist punches a Catholic. That Catholic is a hero, he says. 11,000 likes. Being a cuck doesn't make you a hero. Yeah, getting punched in the face by some bald, head tattooed Satanist is not the hero you think he is. I like my heroes to not get punched in the face. They go, you can just interrupt satanic rituals. It makes me want to go do a pagan ritual. Makes me want to go, like, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to trigger Christians. They're trying to prove a point that if Christians are going to try to impose their religion on everybody, you're going to push back by doing the satanic crap. But I think that's not the right way to go. You actually want to oppose the Jews. You don't play into their Jewish boogeyman. You spite them by going back to the gods of our ancestors. You can just interrupt satanic rituals, actually, but they would cry. Yeah, make an offering to Freya. They would cry if any Satanist went to go interrupt their church and go, they hate us, they fear us, they come after us, poor us, we're the victims, hated by the world, all that shit. Odin would have redacted that bald fag. I know, this guy's cringe and lame and stupid. Where's the video? Here it is.
He doesn't have permission. He's supposed to be outside.
Before the mighty and ineffable breadths of darkness.
We got Aaron Ra out here.
In the presence of all the dread demons of the pit, and in this assembled company, I acknowledge and confess my past allegiance.
These guys are clown. What do we got to do? Burn Bibles? Burn crucifixes? Put up our pagan idols? T-shirt, proud idolater. With whatever pagan god you want to put on there. Yeah, Satanism is controlled op. I agree. I've always said that. Oh my God. And then the cop comes in and defends the Christians. So hold on, let's see this again. Ooh, that was the punch. Oh my gosh. What a shit show. Dude, talk about an L. Do Satanists do anything but hand Christians W's? Yeah, Satanic Church is a Jewish psyop, I know. Started by Jews to scare the goy into following Jesus. Where is this at? What a cool building. Oh my gosh. Dude, what a clown. Such shit. Warrior Marcus as the young Christian activist punched in the face by a Satanist performing a black mass in the Kansas state capitol. This guy right here? What does his shirt say? Death is here? Dude, it is a death cult. Death is... No, that's got to be one of the Satanists that says death is here. Is that the guy that got punched? It is the same guy. Oh, it's this kid. Legal expenses. The Satanists have threatened to take our GoFundMe taken down. Switching to Give, Send, Go. Okay. Is this the one we just watched?
He's saying the prayer.
Oh, here it is.
So it's not just the Satanic Grotto entering the Capitol, but we also have counter-protesters.
Yeah, the guy, I saw the Satanic Temple Twitter account. They'll literally post that, like, Satan fills the pews more than anything ever does. The Jews laugh when Christians mention Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bringer.
Entering the Capitol and surrounding them.
A lot going on, right?
So you said, as long as you aren't causing a disruption, do you think that you might be set to a little bit of a different standard?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're already assumed to be one instead of giving the benefit of the doubt. So here we are. I love this place so much. There are our officers. This is our designated area that we...
We're currently saying prayers inside the Capitol, Rob.
In the presence of all the dread demons of the pit.
They're currently saying...
Dude, how insecure are the Christians that they think some kook with a face tattoo saying some words is like a threat to Jesus. It's all Abrahamic, right? Shield Your Eyes says they get Christians to fear atheists when the Church of Satan says there is no God.
They're currently saying the prayers inside the Capitol. He's saying the prayers. And now it's getting violent. We have a counter-protester now attacking Michael as he's saying the prayers.
Dude, these guys are a bunch of...
It's getting a little violent. Oh, it's getting... Punches are thrown. Punches are thrown. We have Capitol police intervening. This is on the first floor of the Capitol.
It's like... So these guys are allowed to, like, try to grab his shit and get in his face and...
They're currently saying...
Does he not have the
prayers inside the Capitol?
Look at this guy with his little mustache, his little cowboy mustache with his cross canceling out. It's like, are we exorcists now? Is that Kip Davis? Yeah, he's got the gross.
Inside the Capitol.
I'm trimming my beard.
And now it's getting violent.
We're getting maxed out. I'm trimming it probably this weekend.
As he's saying the prayers.
Boom.
Oh, it's getting... Punches are thrown. Punches are thrown. We have Capitol...
If somebody tries to grab something out of your hand, are you not allowed to punch them? Like if it was his phone up there and somebody grabs your phone, you can't punch him? Should be able to.
Intervening. This is on the first floor of the Capitol.
I'm not resisting.
All right. All this does is mobilize and get the Christians all excited, and they get to talk about how, oh, we're so persecuted. Okay, where is this? There we go. Dude, I don't know why this happens where I can't minimize it. Here's another mix by See-Through, or just a video. Oh, and it's a mix, 16 minutes. We'll have to save that one for next show. It's a little long. Let's see. Where are we? 2 hours? I think I need to wrap this up and go to the gym. I haven't worked out in like a week. Tomorrow we're going to play the Charlie Kirk, the 16-minute, or not, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do a Sabbath show exposing all this stuff maybe. Charlie Kirk responds to a groiper about the Talmud. John's new Jesus was Jewish mix. This Christian on Tucker Carlson talking about how Jews and Gentiles are brought together. Like, imagine wanting to be grafted in with the Jews. Anti-Judaic is making these really cool little cartoons. Or not cartoons. What do you call these? Comics? Comic book strips with ChatGPT. I was raised to believe these were my ancestors. Not really. I grew up in church. I wasn't told they were my ancestors. I was told that they were the Jews. And our ancestors were the Gentiles. My ancestors weren't desert wanderers or kings of Israel. They were warriors, poets, seers until they were erased. They weren't saved, they were conquered. Their gods weren't false, just forbidden. Their names weren't unworthy, just unwanted. I won't forget who I was, and I won't forget who I am. And look, there's me right there in the back. Pretty good. Maybe the new version of ChatGPT will do better. But it looks like comic books are going to be put out of business. I love the creativity, though, here, Anti-Judaic. This is really cool. Yeah, the guy that punched him gets arrested. The provocateur that got up in his face and tried to grab the thing out of his hand walks free. But we don't know that. He has a GoFundMe. There'll probably be some type of case or something. Yeah, it's funny. These Christians will show up. Thank you, Daniel Worth. The Christians will show up to throw up their Jesus crucifixion in front of some Satanist that's doing this, reading some words off a piece of paper. But do they do anything to take back their churches? Do they do anything to stop the slaughter of Bolshevik Russia? I'm sorry, of Christian Russia by the Bolsheviks? Did that save them? Are they saving the Palestinians from being slaughtered? Are they protecting Europe from the invasion of third world migrants? No? Are they stopping Jews from having the power they have in Western Christian countries? None of that. No, they can't do any of that. Can they take back their churches and make them not kosher? No, they can just tweet about pagans online. They're ratioed by all their fellow Christians, but they can talk some trash about the people that don't believe in the magical Jewish prophecies. Okay, let's see this one. Our wisdom was burned. Our knowledge was silenced. They call it heresy, but it was truth. To question was to be punished. To seek truth was to invite death. Healers, seers, wise women, they weren't witches. They were protectors, and they were slaughtered. Their wisdom was not lost. I will remember. I will seek. I will restore. They're doing way better with the words on this. Anytime I've tried to get ChatGPT or Midjourney to do words, it gets it wrong like every time. Yeah, churches are hanging up LGBTQ flags everywhere. They can't stop that. They don't fix that. That's not the problem. It's this kook with the face tattoo spouting off some nonsense from his little piece of paper. That's what you got to do. You see, the Satanists going to hell in the afterlife, that's not enough punishment for these Christians. They have to get in your face and try to shove their crucifix down your throat in this life. Thank you, Duncan Bates. Liam Jarrett for 14 says, what is the plan for a panel that you have talked about? Like what platforms? Also, Hail Go Shiach. I'm going to do it with streaming software on all the platforms I always go, Liam. That's where it's going to be. I would do it. I would say let's do the first one on Sunday, but I just booked Gnostic Informants coming on Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then I got 7 C's. You guys seen him on Twitter? 7 C's is going to come on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, let's see. My ancestors once revered the strong, the wise, the mighty. They honored gods who wielded the storm, who protected, who conquered. Then they were given this, a broken man, bleeding, nailed to wood, told that this was their savior, their ideal. Great Jesus crucifixion. Looks so good. Strength became a sin. To suffer was holy. They were told to kneel, to bow, to submit. The meek shall inherit the earth, they said. But where did that leave us? No more the chains of weakness break today. We will remember who we are. No more fear of hell. No more original sin. No more chains of turn the other cheek. No more wanting to be the true Jews and the true Israel. Uber Boyo, definitely want to be. I've been meaning to get him back on again as well. Oh my God, I forgot. I didn't even get to the very best clip. See Through It All told me the other day he found a really good new rabbi clips of them talking about Christianity that I need to play. So we have that to look forward to in the next show. We got a bunch of stuff. It's so funny. Like almost every show for years, I'm exposing rabbis, doing these rabbi compilations that go that get mirrored and copied all over the internet. And these retarded Christians come at me and say, "Why won't you criticize Judaism? You only talk about Christianity. Why won't you talk about Judaism?" I expose Judaism more than any of you. You won't even criticize the Torah. You guys don't even ever expose what rabbis are saying. And Christianity is a form of Judaism. How are these Christians so stupid? Why are we surrounded by retards? Christians taking over a shopping center in Manchester. This goes good with the last stream I did. With the Indian on the street preacher in England, the Indian, or the King's Army in England of all the multiculturalism. This is the way, guys. Hey, don't criticize Jesus. We know it's fake and Jewish, meant to theologically conquer us. But don't criticize Jesus because you're dividing white people. And here's Christians in England. don't be anti-white. Criticizing Christianity is anti-white, right, guys? How many of these anons on Twitter constantly lying about me are actually just non-whites every single time? Sometimes I wonder, like, how many of these accounts are real, botted, Unit 8200, Russian bots? Volkish Spirit says, if they would only read the Bible, they would know that it's only for Aryans and that Jesus was the Aryan Messiah. Yeah. Yeah, these kooks online that are excommunicated from their churches, they say being anti-Jesus is anti-white. Oh, this looks like Christianity in England to me. Hey, the Jewish Messiah. All the Goyim worshiping the Jewish Messiah. The white man's religion that was started by Jews. Okay, let me see real quick. Did I miss any super chats? Thank you, White Knight, over on Rumble. Thank you, White Knight, Brother B. Your TikTok got banned? Instagram. Yes, I'm following you on Instagram, I believe. Follow me on Instagram too, guys. I got to get that up. All right, let's give a shout out to everybody that supported today. You guys are amazing. I missed you all. I didn't stream the last few days. I still got a lot of important stuff to cover. Rabbi Talmudheimer says no one would want to steal such an decrepit religion. The Jews are so vain. They foisted their dull religion of world domination on us to make us mind slaves out of us out of spite, jealousy, and greed. And see, you know, from that Jewish woman's perspective, she's like, oh, we forced it on you. Like, we're not blaming you, Jewish lady. I'm not saying Adam King is at fault for the Jews that created Christianity. That would be obviously absurd. All right. Shout out Fire says, are you familiar with Sean Last and the alternative hypothesis? No idea about that, Fire. Tag me or send me an email about it if you want me to look into it. Actually, I can just copy and paste it right now. Copy and paste. Hey, if all the Goyim could get off the prophecy plantation, aren't you guys tired of being pawns in a Jewish game? Aren't you tired of being dupes, believing in Jewish prophecy, and slaves worshiping the Jewish God like they always wanted? You should be. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you embarrassed and ashamed by all your lies and your slander and your copes and your denials? You should be. Hail Wotan, Wotan, hail the old gods. Down with Yahweh. Shout out Liam Jarrett. Return to Myth says Revelations isn't really even divine. It's them telling you what they have planned for you, right? Huge shout out to John. We'll play your mix next stream. Return to Myth. Thank you. Pagan for Life. Tales of the Levant. John Garadas again and again and again. Thank you so much. Froggy McKee says, ironic that when pagan civilizations and tribal clans were around globally, mostly old world, they either kept the Jews in check and they didn't tolerate them, but since Christians and Muslims and the others took over, the Jews have power and full control globally. Well, I wouldn't say full control globally, but they're definitely way better off. Thank you, Pure Blood. Super shout out, John. You are the best. Doing great work. Froggy McGee. Lot of sense. And my Odysee account. You guys are awesome. Thank you for making the stream possible. Wouldn't be able to do it without you. Thank you, Conspiracy Truther. See through it all. You guys are great. I will be back very soon. Appreciate everybody that's taking the clips of the show, that's creating accounts and sharing the links. Shout out to the Adam Green fan page on YouTube for sharing some of my good old videos and all my new videos. You guys are awesome. That is the way. And hail the old gods, and I will see you guys again very soon. Have a nice weekend, and take care.
Stereotyping Jews is terrible.